Alright, hello and welcome back to Let's Play yet another no-name MAME game. Today's no-name MAME game is of course Wonder Planet, and if you paused the screen and paid attention to that warning message, you would know that this game was made in Japan, and that it is a federal offense to play this game in a different country. The only question is, whose country federal offense? So, we've got Wonder Planet, which looks to be more or less a fairly standard cute-em-up. That's right, cute 'em up. You may or may not have heard the term. It's a play on shoot 'em up, where basically you play your character and everything else is very cute. Maybe not him so much, but the rest of everything is. Did you know that you can get extra money blast Sekiro? Okay, I'm believing that those are like various power-ups you can get, but I don't know what Sekiro is. I don't think I want to know. So, as you'll immediately notice, the control is very similar to Xevious, even right down to the clunky, slow ship that can send out bombs. It's kind of interesting. It's like of all of the games to like ape, you chose Xevious's control scheme. I mean, I can understand if you like Xevious's. Oh man, there aren't even the discs, and they're still there. Also, the game has a penchant for the obvious. You are dead. It actually looks like a school. That's like a war crime, I believe. Bombing a school? Eesh. But yeah. Alright, so evidently there are these power-up things, but I don't know. Oh, okay. It's like final zone, fantasy zone. Yes. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my gosh, okay. So now this game makes a bit of sense. So it's like, if somebody decided to combine Xevious with Super Fantasy Zone. I mean, regular Fantasy Zone. Because evidently, well okay, because Fantasy Zone was sort of based on Defender, but then really cute. But then it also had that shop aspect. It's not quite as inconvenient as this game, because this game you gotta bomb the shop, and then you go in. Whereas Super Fantasy Zone, like, you basically go around, kill the first base, and then the shop, like, all but crashes into you. It's very easy to use the shop, and the shop is very encouraged. And if you're familiar with the Fantasy Zone shop theme, it's fairly similar to this. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because that shop theme was pretty awesome. Of course, evidently that makes the game a little harder, now that you can move at light speed. But I don't know, I'd rather take light speed over the Xevious controls. I was a little afraid there, because I mean, Xevious is a cool game, but dear god, is it a clunky game. Yeah, get extra bonus points by bombing all of the bomb formations. Nah. And also, it seems like these guys on the ground are like spiders. It's not so great. Oh, alright. What can select possibly be? Oh, it... you get to unlock... If you're lucky, you get to unlock, choose which power-ups you want. We'll go for the cheap option. What can I say? I don't have extra... Well, that'll block all the bullets. Whoa, hey, no cheap shots now. Huh. So here we have a game that's sort of like what would happen if you took the aesthetic and shop aspect from Fantasy Zone and put it in a game that plays a bit more like Xevious than Defender. Well, okay, also this is a game for auto-fire, so... Oh, game over! I just enabled auto-fire. Of course, this game also does have a continue function. I forget if Fantasy Zone did or not, but ultimately with games of skill like that, it's a little arbitrary whether continuing is good or not. Just because there's no real reason why you would want to continue. You just like play through and get a higher score each time, and that's how you would maximize credits. I suppose if you wanted to see all of what the game had to offer, and also too, it's so the rocket engine is maybe a little intense. We'll go down to special engine. Let's buy 2, I guess. Okay, that's much more standard of a shoot-'em-up aspect. Why not? I accidentally went into the shop, but I think I'll buy something. Hey, it sounds just like capitalism. And then I just mysteriously died, like a car ran over me or something. Also sounds like capitalism. Alright, we'll go super sure. Let's buy two, evidently. It's auto fire. You give and you take so much. I think it was better when the ship was slower. I don't know. Kind of reminds me how in Dodonpachi, I mean, you hold down the button and your ship goes slow. And to me, the first time I played that game, that was kind of a revolutionary aspect. The whole idea of it's better for your ship to be going slow. I mean, it's kind of mind-bending, and it really only applies to bullet hell games, where the screen is filled with so much bullet and so much fire that, well, you are dead. No, but, But the screen is filled with so many bullets and fire that, like, all you can really do is just focus in and... Oh, hey, so in Fantasy Zone, you might remember that as you killed enemies, then you pick up coins and stuff, but in this game, evidently you automatically get money just for killing stuff. Or maybe it's those 200 power-ups. Let's look at my coin... Oh, it's the 200, guys. Although they're given 200 coins in a pop, that's kind of generous of them. Like I was saying a minute ago, so Dodonpachi... It's very hard. Well, okay, it's bullet hell, so you want to dodge all the bullets, so then you can actually go slow. And then this is actually kind of a feature. It kind of blew my mind, because I had never previously considered that going slow might actually be a good thing. I mean, I'd seen in other games like Thunder Force 4 that you could change your speed. That was like a little bit weird implementation, because you had to go into the start menu and change your speed, and why would you... I couldn't quite understand, like, why would you want to change your speed? But then Dodonpachi comes around and it's just immensely clear. It's like, that's why you change your speed. So, it's kind of weird going back to older games like this, where upgrading your speed is still seen like unilaterally as a power-up. But it's not always, just because this is kind of that era of game that's old enough to have like speed be an upgrade, but new enough that enemy patterns are actually kind of hard to dodge. And I mean, I know I initially kind of thought this was like sort of a lame Xevious clone, but it actually really gets pretty good. I mean, this part, it's pretty hard. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've died like 3 times on it. Well, let's go one low. Let's just get a measly jet engine. Okay, I'm done with you jet engines. I'm only gonna buy 2. Oh yeah, barriers. I forgot about those. I could get a front barrier or a rear barrier. Let's get a multi-barrier. I'm serious now. I'm gonna get past this stage or else. Wait, why did I get the jet engine and the barrier? Anyway. I'm into music, I'm assuming it'll get, like, a bit repetitive, especially if you keep dying over and over again. But, otherwise, it's pretty cool. And, I mean, the cool thing about, cuteness is that their visual style, it really lends itself to, being distinguished. Like, this sprite work, it's really sprite work at its best, so it won't ever really go out of style. So, I mean, you like this game now, you're gonna love it 10 years later, just because it's always gonna look the same. That's one of the advantages you get when you go for cartoony over realistic. Cartoony will always be its own style. And just as I was talking about how graphics will hold up forever and ever, we fight the hand-drawn MS Paint Woolly Mammoth. MS Paint style is not something that will go down forever and be eternally remembered. Hey, shouldn't I have damaged him by now? Hey, why are you doing this to me? Hopefully so there were 2 power-up things as we were approaching this. Yeah, engine and select. Well, jet engine was doing good for me. Oh, it only goes up by 50. That's sort of convenient, I guess. I mean, you probably won't be buying a lot of jet engines. This is a lot harder without a barrier, but I could do this. I guess not. Huh. So if you look in the upper left, apparently we've collected some power-ups. And so that thing I was talking about earlier finally comes in handy. Although I still really don't know what Sekiro is. Infinite bombs. Which is good. You would not want finite bombs in a game like Xevious. So am I crazy, or am I detecting a hint of slowdown? I mean, there are like 20,000 bullets on screen, but... Well, maybe the slowdown's a courtesy. Still, I don't like... So the cool thing about slowdown is it makes everything on the screen slower, and it makes everything easier to dodge. The lame thing about slowdown is it's inherently an aberration. It's inherently something's going wrong. So that means eventually something will go back right. So you'll go back to regular speed, and then... Yeah, it's kind of jarring to go back from slowdown to regular speed, and it's even worse when a game does it just, like, seemingly randomly. See, so, okay, so now slowdown wouldn't be such a bad thing if it waited for the shots to get past me. So it wouldn't be such a bad thing if the shots got past me, and then the game sped back up. Which would make sense if you think about it, because I'm assuming the whole reason it's slowing down is because there's so many shots on screen. As soon as those shots leave the screen, then it goes back to regular speed. I can understand that. But this, it's like, the bullets come at me slowly, and then they speed up, and then they slow down, and they speed up, and they slow down, and then it's just getting into like, why is this happening to me? And then you kind of start wondering, like, is this an artificial slowdown added in by the developers? And if so, why are they doing this to me? Of course, it being an arcade game, that question is usually answered by, to get more credits. I keep forgetting, the ship is too slow to make it to the other side. Earlier on, I was complaining about game speeds, but it's like, this is why. Because your ship is fast enough. Okay, if it's fast, then it's easy to run into bullets, but if it's slow, it's hard to, like, run away from bullets. So, this is why I like variable ship speeds. If this was Dodonpachi, I'd have the button down, I'd be in laser mode, I'd be going slow, dodging all these bullets like a precision master. And then as soon as the bullets are coming at me from the side, then I'll run away. I let go. Grr hickety. Alright, maybe I've saved up enough for a hyper engine. Oh wow, oh, it is called a hyper engine. Huh, I guess this one's the cheaper option. Probably not for any reason. Alright, this will be my last go, I'll cut out after this. But so far, I mean, we found a cool shoot-'em-up, and the cool thing is, like, I'm looking at the shoot-'em-up's title, it's like Wonder Planet, that can't be any good. And then I'm playing it, I'm realizing, this could actually be pretty good. I mean, it's not quite the polished level that you'd expect from other shoot-'em-ups of the time, but it's a fair standard of quality. Hey, ho-ho! Evidently the secret was to not move anywhere. Completely counterintuitive to any shoot-'em-ups I've ever played. And that was just the first level. I'm assuming the game, like, kind of gets easier as you understand its mechanics more and more, but... Oh, remember when I said the music would get a little repetitive? Well, that was before I knew that the music keeps staying the same. Alright, so the problem with, one really annoying thing with Fantasy Zone is that any sort of bullet upgrades you get go away. So we'll see if these bullet upgrades go away. Yeah, they go away. Look, there's a bar in the upper left-hand corner. Oh. Well, that's good too. So, they do go away, but they also act as a complement to your regular shots. Which I really don't like, but whatever, I can take it. I don't know, I never really liked power-ups that kind of go away after a time. Oh, cool. Alright, so you know, most games you press like A to run down the counter. Well, this game, you press like A and then the game's over. Immediately back to the main screen. The attract screen, as it were. Oh, and we've got 2 players. Although I'm a little curious to see where the 2-player power-ups and scores and everything go. I'm half afraid that if you did 2 players, it'd be alternating. Although, I mean, I think Fantasy Zone has, like, 2-player alternating, too. That's kind of par for the course. I mean, yeah. It's more like games like this, where it's more about, like, a single coherent challenge. Although, I don't know, because a game like this, it's a little kitschy, and it could benefit from 2-player simultaneous play. And ultimately, it seems to me like 2-player simultaneous play is the far better way to get more credits, so... But what the heck? This was back in the days when you weren't quite sure how to design video games. So, yes, I would appreciate a title screen so I could know when and where you were made. Well, it is kind of cool to see all the other environments, although it is significantly less cool to see that everything basically stays the same. I mean, there are new enemies, like, well, alright. It's changing, just kind of slowly. Stop! Oh, I love that warning. 1987, gosh. 1987. That's like, what, 2 years after Funky Fish? Maybe 4. Wow. So within a 4-year span, you went from Funky Fish to this? You're going from, like, Space Invaders, Galaga, to this? That can't be right, but if that's right, that's pretty impressive. There's one thing I've learned after going through all these MAME games, like, over and over, it's like, impressive things happen as far as these MAME games. I mean, games you might not expect in certain years are in certain years. It's, overall, looking at the entire history, it's pretty impressive. Well, on that note, this cat's got a scat.